Have you ever stopped to think about your breathing? Not when you're running or climbing stairs, but right now, as you watch this video. The truth is, most people breathe the wrong way their entire lives and don't even know it. And the price for this silent mistake can be devastating to your lungs. But before we go deeper, I want to ask you something. Have you ever felt tired for no reason, even after a full night's sleep? If yes, type 1 in the comments so we know how many of us are living this without understanding why. Also, don't forget to like and share this video. It might help someone close to you without you even knowing it. Stick with us until the end, because there's a vital message that could completely change how you breathe and live. Now, let's come back to what's happening right now, your breath. Breathing is so automatic, so subconscious, that we often assume we're doing it correctly, but many of us are not. In fact, shallow, chest-based breathing is the default for millions, especially after age 50. Over time, this kind of breathing decreases lung capacity, reduces oxygen flow to the brain and muscles, and weakens the immune system. It doesn't happen overnight. At first, it's small things: less energy, more yawning, a feeling of heaviness in the chest. Nothing too alarming. But slowly, this poor breathing pattern turns into a silent saboteur, undermining your respiratory health from the inside. And because it's subtle, we rarely make the connection. Even worse, this poor oxygen intake is often mistaken for fatigue, aging, or even emotional stress. No doctor will diagnose bad breathing habits at your checkup. That's why this awareness is your first act of self. Your lungs are not machines. They respond to every breath you take, and they are begging for your attention. And if you've already felt shortness of breath while walking, or noticed your stamina slipping, then stay with me. Because in the next chapter, we'll talk about a common symptom that most people ignore, a warning sign that your body is already sounding the alarm. Asterisk. If you've ever felt out of breath just walking up a flight of stairs, or even while talking for too long, might have brushed it off. I'm just tired today. You tell yourself, it's just age catching up with me. But what if I told you that this kind of breathlessness isn't just normal aging? What if it's your body quietly waving a red flag? In the previous chapter, we talked about unconscious bad breathing habits. Now, let's connect that to what your body is trying to say when you feel out of breath. That sensation, tightness in the chest, needing to pause to catch your breath, isn't something you should accept. In fact, it's often the earliest sign that your lungs are struggling long before any test reveals damage. Let me ask you something personal. Have you noticed yourself avoiding certain activities lately? Maybe you no longer carry heavy groceries, or you avoid long walks because you just don't have the energy. If this sounds familiar, leave a 2 in the comments. Your comment might resonate with someone else going through the same thing. And while you're at it, hit the like button. This video could be the turning point for many who feel alone in this experience. What's truly alarming is how often shortness of breath goes misdiagnosed. It's labeled as anxiety, poor fitness, or aging, but your lungs might be sending distress signals. This hidden breathlessness could be a precursor to chronic obstructive pulmonary disease, COPD, pulmonary fibrosis, or even early stages of heart complications. The worst part, many don't get help until it's too late, when stairs turn into mountains, and a short walk feels like a marathon. But here's the good news. Awareness is already a form of healing. Once you start paying attention, you can begin to take back control. Simple changes in breathing, posture, and physical activity can slow or even reverse the damage. And if you start today, your lungs will thank you. Coming up next, we'll enter a space we often ignore: our sleep. Because at night, while we rest, our lungs continue their silent work. But what happens when that silence is broken by snoring, coughing, or sudden gasps for air? The signs might be more serious than they seem. Asterisk. You lie down at night, close your eyes, and drift into what should be a peaceful sleep, but your body has other plans. Maybe you snore, sometimes lightly, sometimes loud enough to wake your partner. Maybe you cough in your sleep or wake up gasping for air, confused and tired. These moments may seem harmless, even common, but they are anything but normal. In the last chapter, we talked about daytime shortness of breath. Now, we shift to the hours when your body is most vulnerable: when you're asleep. And here's the scary truth. Your lungs never rest. While you sleep, they work quietly to keep your blood oxygenated. But if snoring, apnea, or coughing occurs, it could be a sign that your lungs are under stress, perhaps even failing to get the oxygen your brain needs. Obstructive sleep apnea, for example, can cause you to stop breathing hundreds of times in one night. This isn't just about poor rest or waking up groggy. It's about your heart, your brain, and your lungs being deprived of life-sustaining oxygen repeatedly. The damage this causes over time is invisible, until it's not. Let me ask, do you or someone in your family snore loudly? Or have you ever been told that you stop breathing while you sleep? Comment with a 3 if this is something you've experienced, and if you've made it this far in the video, it's because you care about your health or someone else's. So share this video. Your voice might be the one that wakes someone up before it's too late. These nighttime symptoms are not random. They're signals. That dry cough you hear before bed, it might not be allergies. The waking up with a tight chest, not always stress. Your lungs may be trying to speak in the only way they know how, but there's hope. These conditions are, in many cases, reversible. It starts with awareness, proper breathing, and small changes to your nightly routine, and we'll get there. But first, let's explore another quiet villain of your lung health, the way we move, or rather, the way we don't. Because if your body has been slowing down, your lungs might be rusting from the inside. Asterisk, you might not feel it right away. Maybe you sit a little longer than you used to. Maybe a short walk leaves you more winded than expected. At first, it's easy to blame age. But what if the real culprit is how little we move and what that stillness is doing to your lungs? In the previous chapter, we uncovered how your lungs struggle during the night. Now, let's talk about what happens during the day, especially if your lifestyle has become more sedentary. Because the truth is, when we stop moving, our lungs stop expanding the way they were designed to. They shrink, slowly, quietly. Like iron left in the rain, they rust from the inside. Past the age of 50, your lung capacity naturally starts to decline. But inactivity accelerates that decline drastically. Sitting for long hours restricts your diaphragm. Your breaths become shallower, and your lungs no longer stretch to their full potential. Over time, this creates the perfect storm for poor oxygenation, muscle weakness, and, yes, even long-term respiratory illness. Let me ask you this: how many hours a day do you sit? Be honest. Type 4 in the comments. If you think it's more than 5 hours, you won't be alone. Millions are in the same situation. But recognizing the problem is the first step to healing it. And if you're finding this video helpful, leave a like and share it. Someone you love might need this wake-up call to. Now here's the good news. You don't need to become an athlete to recover lung power. Even short walks, breathing exercises, or light stretching can trigger your lungs to open up again. Your lungs are living tissue. They can regenerate, they can recover, but they need movement to do so. Don't wait until you're gasping after a flight of stairs to take action. Reclaim your breath, step by step, breath by breath. Because your lungs are not only for survival, they are for life, for energy, for clarity of thought. They are the quiet foundation of your well-being. And speaking of quiet foundations, in the next chapter, we'll look at something even more hidden, invisible enemy inside your own home. An enemy you breathe in every single day without knowing the damage it's doing. You might think the safest place for your lungs is your own home. After all, it's where you relax, rest, and feel protected. But what if the very air you breathe inside your home is slowly damaging your lungs day after day, breath after breath? In the last chapter, we talked about how a lack of movement leads your lungs to rust from the inside. Now, let's go deeper into the invisible. Because while you sit, work, or sleep indoors, there's something quietly floating around you. Toxins, mold spores, cleaning product residues, dust mites. These aren't just nuisances, they are enemies. And the worst part, they enter your lungs with every breath, without resistance. The air inside most homes is often more polluted than the air outside, sometimes 2 to 5 times more. Synthetic air fresheners, aerosol sprays, candles, disinfectants, and furniture, treated with chemicals, release compounds that irritate and inflame the lung lining. Over time, this constant exposure chips away at your respiratory health, especially if you're over 50 and your lungs are already more vulnerable. Have you ever felt your chest tight after cleaning with strong products? Or noticed a lingering cough that gets worse indoors? If so, type 5 in the comments. These signs are not random, they're your body trying to warn you. And if you know someone who spends most of their time indoors, please share this video. You might be protecting someone you love from long-term damage they can't yet see. But you're not helpless. Small changes make a big difference. Ventilate your home regularly. Choose natural cleaning products. Keep an eye on moisture and mold. Add plants that purify air. These aren't complicated actions, but they're powerful ones. Your lungs thrive in clean, fresh air, and the clearer your environment, the deeper and more healing each breath becomes. You can't change the past, but you can change the air around you today. And that might be the most important step toward protecting your lungs long-term. In the next chapter, we move from avoiding damage to actively healing. Because now that you understand the enemies, it's time to discover the breath that heals, the ancient techniques that awaken your lungs and restore your vitality from the inside out. Asterisk, now that you know what's harming your lungs, let's shift focus to healing. Because within you, right now, is a built-in tool more powerful than any medicine. Your breath, not the automatic, shallow breath most of us take, but a conscious, intentional breath that has the power to repair tissue, boost oxygen levels, and calm the nervous system. In the previous chapter, we revealed the invisible threats hiding in your home. Now it's time to take back control, not with pills or complicated devices, but with something you've had since the moment you were born. Modern science is just beginning to confirm what ancient practices already knew. How you breathe shapes how you live. Deep diaphragmatic breathing, for example, expands your lungs fully. IMPROVEs, blood oxygenation, and helps flush out carbon dioxide. Even more, it strengthens the muscles around your lungs, keeping them younger, longer. Try this. Breathe in deeply through your nose for 4 seconds, hold for 7, then exhale slowly through your mouth for 8 seconds. Do it 3 times. Feel that warmth in your chest, the stillness. That's oxygen doing its quiet magic. And if you tried it now, type 6 in the comments to let us know. You've just taken the first step toward restoring your lung power. Techniques like pursed lip breathing, box breathing, and alternating nostril breathing aren't just for yoga. They're tools anyone over 50 can use to improve lung function, fight fatigue, and even lower blood pressure. No gym, no equipment, just breath. And here's something even more surprising. Consistent breathing exercises have been shown to reduce the symptoms of asthma, COPD, and anxiety. Imagine that: less medication, fewer doctor visits simply by learning to breathe better. So set aside 5 minutes a day. That's all it takes. 5 minutes of focused breathing can begin to undo years of stress and stagnation in your lungs. But there's more to healing than breathing. Your lungs also need fuel. In the next chapter, we'll explore something just as powerful as breath: what you put on your plate, because there are foods, real and natural, that can help clear your lungs, reduce inflammation, and help you breathe easier every single day. Asterisk, you already know, the air you breathe affects your lungs. But here's something most people overlook. So does the food you eat. That's right, what you put on your plate has a direct impact on how deeply and freely you can breathe. In the last chapter, we explored the healing power of breath. Now, let's add another layer: nutrition. Because your lungs are not just filters, they are living, regenerating tissue that require the right nutrients to function, repair, and stay strong. Let's start with inflammation, the silent fire that burns inside your airways when you're exposed to pollution, infections, or allergens. Certain foods can fuel that fire, like processed sugars, fried foods, and chemical preservatives, but others can put it out. So, what should you be eating? Leafy greens like spinach and kale are loaded with antioxidants and chlorophyll, which support oxygen flow. Garlic and onions contain natural anti-inflammatory compounds that help open up the bronchial passages. Turmeric, with its powerful active compound curcumin, can reduce inflammation in the lungs. And fruits like pineapple, apples, and berries help cleanse mucus and improve overall lung function. Have you already included any of these in your diet? If yes, type 7 inches in the comments and tell us which ones. And if not, maybe today is the day to make that small life-changing choice. Don't forget to like and share this video. Someone in your family could be struggling to breathe and not know what's missing from their plate. Also, staying hydrated is key. Your lungs are about 80% water, and drinking enough fluids, warm ones like herbal teas, helps thin mucus, making it easier to expel toxins and breathe more freely. Eating for your lungs isn't about trendy diets. It's about consistency. Small choices made daily that lead to powerful results. Your lungs don't need perfection, they need support. And every anti-inflammatory meal, every glass of water, every conscious breath adds up. And now, we've come full circle. You've learned how you breathe, how you move, what surrounds you, and what you eat all influence your lung health. But how do you know where you stand? How do you measure the health of your lungs today, in this very moment? That's exactly what we'll discover in the final chapter. A simple test you can do at home that could save your life. Asterisk, you've come a long way. From silent damage to healing breath. From toxic environments to lung-cleansing foods, you've discovered how much your daily choices affect your lungs. But now, it's time to turn the spotlight inward. Because what good is knowledge if we don't apply it? Let's do something powerful together right now. Simple, science-backed test to check your lung function at home. No machines, no appointments, just you and your breath. Here's what you do. Sit upright, inhale deeply through your nose, filling your lungs completely. Then start a stopwatch and exhale slowly through your mouth while timing how long it takes to release all your air. Ideally, a healthy adult should be able to exhale for at least 20 to 30 seconds in a steady, controlled breath. If you had to exhale in less than 15 seconds, or if you coughed or felt dizzy, your lungs might be struggling more than you think. Try it now. Pause this video, take the test, and come back. When you're done, type 8 in the comments and share your time. This isn't a competition, it's awareness. It's the first step toward taking your lung health seriously. And who knows, your comment might inspire someone else to check themselves to .net. As promised at the beginning, here's the most important truth. You are not powerless. No matter your age, no matter how long you've smoked, no matter how long you've ignored the signs, your lungs can still heal. They were designed to recover. Every conscious breath, every meal filled with life, every step you take, and every moment you choose fresh air over pollution, it all matters. So if this video helped you in any way, share it with someone you care about. Leave a like so YouTube knows this message deserves to be seen. And above all, take this moment as a turning point. Breathe deeper, Breathe wiser. Breathe like your life depends on it, because it does. And remember, sometimes it's not the loudest symptoms that matter, it's the quiet ones, the ones you've ignored for years. Today, you've chosen to listen. And for that, your lungs thank you. Asterisk.